All right, it's the Wrestling Caucus. I'm Peter A.
I'm pissed off. I'm Smiley Ariaga.
And
Yeah.
today we have to talk about AEW. Um,
Fuck.
this past Wednesday, they aired the footage of CM Punk and Jack Perry's fight from All In, which was in August. Why are we talking about this now? I don't know.
I mean, obviously they don't have a pay-per-view to promote. So
No,
yeah, fuck it.
forget
Let's
about that.
uh so you don't get me fucking started. I can't even. I just
Well,
had to I had to say something. Like I don't know how to talk. You go first. You go
okay,
first.
so to start, I want to get your initial thoughts on AEW announcing that they were going to air the footage. When you first heard this, what were your first thoughts?
My initial thoughts were WWE just finished putting on one of the best WrestleManias, one of the best wrestling shows in the past few years. And this is the first weekend in a while where WrestleMania was actually one of the best shows in WrestleMania during WrestleMania weekend. Isn't
Yep.
that crazy? And what does AEW do? Oh, let's continue our fucking smear campaign against one of our former employees. If that doesn't tell you everything you need to know about like where they're at right now, I don't know what does.
My first thoughts were it was a joke because with the internet, you just don't know. You don't know, right? So it was all over their socials and everywhere else. So I'm thinking, okay, it's legit. Then I immediately thought about WCW 2000. I thought about Scott Steiner telling everyone that's why the fans change the channel to watch Stone Cold because WCW sucks. I thought about TNA when Road Dogg and Billy Gunn challenged Triple H and Shawn Michaels to a fight, but they didn't say Shawn Michaels and Triple H. They called them by their government names. So I thought about all that stuff. And Eric Bischoff challenging Vince McMahon to a fight. And where did it get them? TNA is
Oh, in
still
the
in business.
WWE archives.
Yeah.
They're in the
So
WWE archives
come
now.
forward. When you sit back, it sounds like you're 10 miles away.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So it led to TNA just in business, but they're kind of irrelevant at this point. They're functioning promotion where if you're a wrestler, you can go make money, but no one's going out of their way to watch TNA Impact. No one knows where to find it, even though it's on Access, but not a lot of people are. It's not must see TV. WCW went out of business, right? And that wasn't the only cause, but it certainly was an accelerant doing things like that. Bash at the Beach 2000. We don't need to open up those can of worms. So those are my initial thoughts, and that they're doing too much insider garbage that appeals to no one. Just maybe 200 people that would go to PWG. They love that insider garbage. Um, and it's almost like they forgot that they're on national television. So those are my initial thoughts. So now let's talk about the segment on Dynamite in which they aired this footage. Did you see this at all?
I was watching. I was like doing something worthwhile. I was hanging out with a friend watching The Sopranos, and then you texted me, "Oh, the idiots actually did it." And then
Yeah,
I
I,
went
I
home and I kind of watched the segment, and okay, I guess I have to ask. This is not a segue, but sort of is. People call the Young Bucks one of the best tag teams in the world, right?
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
They are.
Okay. Uh, but every time I've seen them on television for the past 2 years, it's it's them making a fool out of themselves and their coworkers, right? Meanwhile, like FTR and the Usos are split up, and they are a better tag team than them. The best tag team in the world are a bunch of guys that make themselves look like assholes. And yes, people say, "Oh well, they started AEW." Yeah, a company that they're currently killing. How are they the best tag team in the world? Because they had a good match at Revolution years ago. They had a good match with Kenny and Ibushi in New Japan years ago. What have they done lately to show that they're one of the best tag teams in the world? This shit is what happened on Wednesday night wasn't it. And it doesn't make me want to see them in FTR.
So, I think last year at All In, right? Their match with FTR was outstanding. I thought it was great. And it just proves that these two teams, they work so great together and they're one of the best in the world, right? However, the segment on Dynamite, they explained why they didn't shake the hands of FTR after the match, right? Because they tried to tie in this into some sort of storyline which will enable them to air the footage. They said they were distracted by the goings on backstage, i.e., CM Punk and Jack Perry fighting. They were distracted. They had to put their quote unquote EVP hats on so they weren't focused. And they think that FTR had something to do with that because they're friends with CM Punk. This is really lame, simple minded, nonsensical, really just reaching for something as to why they're completely pulling back the curtain. Then they aired the footage unedited. When they aired the footage, there's no audio. There were clips online of people there cheering on when CM Punk, he put his hands on Jack Perry, cheering CM Punk, right? So the storyline is that Jack Perry is the scapegoat, right? So the crowd, your crowd, the AEW crowd is behind the guy that's no longer there, that was their top star, and that is now the top star in the other promotion.
He's still AEW's top star.
And he's still, yeah, you can argue that. So the fact that they tried to tie this into a storyline is hysterical to me, right? And then you have FTR going out there, like speaking in the minds of everyone watching, saying, "What are you doing? Why are we doing this?"
Oh, I didn't even watch that far in. I didn't even want to watch the rest of the show after seeing that.
Yeah, I felt the same way. And I watched that. I'm like, okay, yes, FTR, they're really trying to pull this all together. But the crowd is chanting CM Punk. They don't care. Why do this? This is a waste of both tag teams' talent. This is a waste of time.
Again, what is the supposed best, like you were about to ask, what is the supposed best tag team in the world doing for their tag division with this?
Nothing at all. This was the fact, like I was curious to see how they're going to tie this into a story, right? By completely turning out, opening up the curtain, appealing to the smallest fragment of the audience. This is not even interesting on a tabloid level.
No, but they're appealing to the people. They're appealing to all the putz idiots who will defend anything they do. They're not appealing. They're not trying to grow. They're appealing to all the people. There are people who are literally defending this as we speak, not realizing that WCW no longer exists.
That's a very small part of, I think most people that I've seen, at least most people that I've seen with credibility, 90% of them, everyone thought this was stupid. Everyone, the fans there, the people who paid money to see this, they thought it was stupid too. Anyway, so now I told you the storyline tie-in to this. Does that mean anything to you at all? Does that?
No. Listen,
Okay.
I don't look. I feel bad. Look, I feel bad for people like you because you actually believe in this place. I've accepted a long time ago that they will never be the company that they promised. They will never gain back that credibility ever again. But like when I see things like this, it pisses me off because, like, I know people like yourself who actually believe in this place, and you're like spitting in their face too. Like me, like there's nothing left to like. I've accepted the fact that this is a company that has people that I love, but it is managed by morons. And to be honest, when you told me this, like when you told me they were going to do this, I wasn't surprised, but I was disappointed because, like, for anyone who listens to this show, it's no secret how I feel about AEW's management and how they put things together. But I've been thinking like maybe I've been too hard on them. Maybe I'm being too mean. But then you tell me that they're doing this, and I'm like, oh wow, oh my god, I am right about them. Like I don't know.
Okay, so let's talk about the ratings for Dynamite this past week, right? We don't really talk about ratings on this show, but I think it's significant for today, right? So they average 810,000 viewers, which is slightly up from the week prior of 752,000 total viewers, right? Generally speaking, that's fine. It's fine, right? They're able to hold their audience, but to me, this is like normal what AEW does, or Dynamite does specifically. It's normal. There's no story here to the ratings, right? So that proves that them doing this meant nothing. It meant nothing. So let me give you the ratings of some of the segments of Dynamite, right? Some of the quarter-hour ratings, right? So it opened with Swerve Strickland attacking Samoa Joe, right? Then after that, they had Adam Copeland and Penta. That whole segment did almost 1 million viewers, right? 987,000 total viewers for that segment, right? Then the fight where the Bucks aired the security footage, 880,000 total viewers. What does that tell you?
They
It
wanted to
tells you
see
it's
CM Punk.
yeah.
They wanted to see CM Punk.
It
And it's
tells you
like
that it's just another show. It's another week. It was another week.
the thing is that usually it's like I criticize WWE, like especially under Vince, their just refusal, despite all the tools they have, their refusal to put together more than one wrestling angle that makes sense. And then we see a show that is mostly filled with wrestling matches and stories that make sense. And I don't know, man. Like they clearly did this. I'm so mad. I'm like losing my train of thought. They clearly did this. AEW did this for a ratings bump. Instead of building matches and storylines, like the one storyline that people were actually excited for, which was Osprey and Danielson. No one cares about that anymore. They didn't.
We'll get to that in a second.
They barely talked about it. Like no, but like let's focus on the fact that guys, but CM Punk is still a bad guy. Like you have to know that.
In storyline, okay, this guy's your favorite, but we're gonna show you the true colors of him. First of all, the people in the arena probably weren't really thinking about CM Punk because probably some of these people are like they already they see CM Punk on the other channel if they do watch it, right? And they want to see who is here. They're paying money. They bought an AEW ticket, right? A lot of them know that CM Punk is not there. They bought the AEW ticket to see AEW people currently, right? So now what you did, you got a little ratings bump, not really significant. Now you got people thinking about and talking about CM Punk because, right? I'm going to put my digital media cap on for a second, right? What they did in terms of search engine optimization, when you search SEO, right? When you search AEW on Google this past week, you know what came up? CM Punk.
It paints. It's like I don't know how to talk about this place like a real wrestling company. I don't. I don't like because they have so many amazing people here. They have Samoa Joe, Eddie Kingston, Mark Briscoe, Claudio, Sheeta, Tony Storm, Ricky Starks. What the hell happened to Ricky Starks? Brian Danielson. Hell, like all of these guys didn't benefit from this at all. You have an entire pay-per-view to put together and you're still obsessed with a guy that you claim you don't want anything to do with.
Exactly. Right.
Why? Well, we know why,
So
but like,
this is
why?
possibly leading to Jack Perry being aligned with the Bucks, possibly, right? He could,
Oh, wow! I can't wait for that. I
yeah.
can't wait. 3 idiots together.
So, do you like seeing this? Does that mean anything to you? Jack
No,
Perry and the Bucks together?
no. I
Yeah,
stopped taking
me
Jack
neither.
Perry seriously when I
100%.
read or I found out, and it was confirmed. This guy wanted to use a rental car, destroy it, and bring it back. He and and people aren't talking about this, right? People are mad at Punk for cursing out Tony Khan. Jack Perry, the reason why they even involved CM Punk in that glass situation is because Jack Perry had cursed out Tony Schiavone and the doctors that work there. Oh, but he's a good kid who
He's a
curses
guy.
out doctors?
He's a guy. Listen, here's the thing about this, right? Jack Perry, right? Jungle Boy. He's a guy I saw that, okay, he could be something in a couple of years, right? The crowd
Eh.
liked him. They liked his song and everything like that. You know, if he evolves his character a little bit, I think he'll be something down the line. But like even last summer, Jack Perry was nowhere near. He has no real credibility in wrestling. He's not a draw. He's not a he's not a star at all. He's not a main event level guy. He isn't. He's got the potential to probably be one if he gets his act together. But they're not making any, like, if you get rid of Jack Perry, you're not going to lose anything. You're not losing an audience. He doesn't have an audience. You know what I mean? Like, he's just another guy. He's just another wrestler on the roster. The fact that they build him and like a Sammy Guevara as like these are the pillars of AEW. It's like, what in what world and what universe are like if you don't have Sammy Guevara and Jungle Boy on your card, you're not losing much. There's no disrespect to those two, but it's like they are not attractions yet. They aren't attractions yet.
And they never
And
will
now,
be if this is how they plan on getting them over.
yeah, come closer.
They
Yeah.
never
So
will be if
yeah,
this is how they plan on getting them over.
yeah. But here's the thing: it's not working. Now you have the guy. Now what you've showed people that this guy, um, he lost in a real tussle. He didn't really lose, but it's like he got, the CM Punk got the better of him. He put him in a headlock. If they weren't pulled apart, it wouldn't have ended well for him. So now this guy looks like a total chump, and now you're showing, okay, CM Punk was the aggressor, the physical aggressor, right? That's what you showed. But like, honestly, like Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, they beat each other up, but they were actually wrestling in the ring, and they were stars. They
And
were
plus
stars.
they didn't beat each other up. Shawn Michaels was a douchebag
Oh
and
no, well
the
Bret Hart
company fucked over Bret.
no, Bret Hart legitimately would beat up Shawn Michaels backstage. They got into
Well,
real fights.
well, wasn't it because Shawn Michaels was an asshole?
Well, yeah, but be that as it may, like they would they would get into actual physical altercations.
Yeah.
But the problem is, Vince put up with that because, like, okay, they can make me money because they were stars, right? And that's been the case in wrestling for generations, right? But Adam and whatever his name is, Jack Perry is not a star. Like, he's not a star. He isn't. He should have been fired. But whatever. I'm glad that Punk got fired because now, I get to watch him on TV and he can make more money. And you know what I'm saying? Good for him. He won. It's a win-win. It's a win-win for CM Punk, not for
It's
AEW.
just yeah, I don't know. It's just like but it's just amazing. Like the way you describe Jack Perry is exactly how I think about the Young Bucks. Because like I said, my question to you, like cuz maybe it's something I'm not seeing. Other than the fact that they started AEW, a company they're not helping right now. They're not helping AEW, let's be honest. Other and a few good matches here or there that have no story. How the hell are these guys? How am I supposed to compare these guys to the Usos and the Briscoes and the fucking and FTR and the Acclaimed are a better tag team than them?
Well, yeah, but be that as it may, no matter how you feel about the Young Bucks, they are stars. They are attractions. They
Yeah,
are like that.
they're stars because people know them for being jokes.
No, okay, but what I'm saying is, my point is, Jack Perry doesn't make money for AEW. Young
Are
Bucks
the
make
Bucks
money
making
for you.
money for AEW?
Yeah, I'm saying, like, think about it. Okay, forget about how you feel about these two. One doesn't make
No,
any
but I'm
money.
asking, like, are they making
No,
money for AEW
yeah,
doing this?
I'm just saying, like, in generally speaking, the Young Bucks, they are attractions. Their segments do good ratings, generally speaking. Their merchandising is great, right? People pay money to see them in a vacuum, generally speaking. This stuff is not going to make anybody any money. But I'm just saying that Young Bucks or Jack Perry is a non-factor. Like, if I'm Tony Khan, this guy's not making me money. Get the fuck out of my face. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. That's the point. The reason why, again, Vince put up with Shawn Michaels because he was an attraction. He was a star. He made money. That's why he was around for as long as he was. Randy Orton had a lot of problems he had a lot of behavior issues in WWE. They put up with it because people paid to see him. That's what I'm saying. That's my point.
I'm just saying, if the Young Bucks were in a real wrestling company right now, they would not be the top draws, and no one would put up with their shit. They
that
literally drove out their top star because they were jealous of him and petty. And they literally are derailing the promotion of their
yeah,
pay-per-view because they're
yes,
still jealous and petty.
yes. This and this Young Bucks thing, right? If you, I think people should read their book. It's very interesting, right? So they discuss in their book, they talked about the Booker T handshake thing, right? And at the time they were wrestling all over the independents. They spun that and it helped them. But here's the difference. All the situations they got into when they were on the independent circuit, now they're on national television. So when you're on national TV and you're on pay-per-view and you're selling out thousands in arenas, you have to appeal to the masses. You have to build your audience. You can't just keep you have to make your original fans happy too, right? The people that got you to the dance, but you also have to bring new people in. If you keep doing the winky wink wink stuff, you're going to net zero. You know what I mean? You're not gonna rise above. You're not gonna expand. You're gonna have this small pocket independent wrestling size audience. The best you're gonna do is like a WrestleMania weekend type of
But
audience,
look
which
what they
is
did during WrestleMania weekend. Nothing. They did nothing. They promoted they promoted the guy that they hate who's in WWE. I'm just saying that they've done way. I understand what they've done for AEW initially, but they have done more to harm AEW than they have to help it.
yes,
They claimed, oh, we're gonna put tag team wrestling on the map. What the fuck are they doing for the tag division right now? The tag division is a joke.
it's a big joke. It's a joke.
So like, so what the like what am I giving these guys credibility for? I don't know. I don't. Maybe I just don't get it. Maybe I just I don't know. I don't know because
Yeah,
this is not it. Whatever they're doing now is not it.
this is just again, it's only appealing to the smallest sector of the wrestling audience. And they it's like they book their show based on what people say on Twitter or something. X, whatever you call it. That's how they're booking the show. Because Tony Khan is from the message board period of wrestling, right? He's part of the early internet wrestling fan base. And that's how he's booking his show. And that doesn't make you money. It doesn't. It doesn't. So, okay, so this stuff that they're doing now, right? Ideally, this is a bad way of doing it, but this is kind of like setting up a program between Jungle Boy or the Young Bucks and CM Punk, right? So let's say if CM Punk was in AEW and they did this, how would you feel about it?
I would still like if CM Punk was here and they did this.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? If you want to go back, if CM Punk was still here, if this was the mentality that they were going for, You know what would have been better than airing this stupid footage that they had? If CM Punk was still in the company, when he was still in the company, they should have aired the media scrum of him calling out Adam Page and the EVPs. That would have actually made sense. And also, there's something there. FTR and Punk versus the dumbasses and Kenny Omega. Like, that would have, if you're going by that logic, because I remember saying when the media scrum happened, oh man, they should have put that on TV. That shit, not only was it hysterical, but two, like, you can make drama out of that. But I was told, well, you don't want to air that on TV. Well, now they're airing this shit on TV. So if they were gonna do shit like this, they should have aired the media scrum when Punk was there. It would have been good business had they, were grown-ups
So
and just
you would see a CM Punk if they aired this footage and CM Punk was still in AEW. Would you be interested in seeing CM Punk versus Jungle Boy?
well, not this footage. I mean, like the media scrum footage. Not really this. Not really this. But the media scrum footage. Oh, there you can make a angle out of that. If
You
you
know what's
if
funny?
if you were dumb, if that was the direction you're going in,
I think that them
they
doing
struck while the iron was cold,
if
and
CM Punk
also
was
made them
there,
look like assholes. I don't
if
know.
CM Punk was there, there's no way I'd be interested in this because this is too inside. You brought down the curtain. If they aired that stupid press conference, that would also be stupid because it's too inside. It's way too inside.
No, I'm just saying no, I don't agree with you. I'm just saying if you were gonna go down that dumbass route, which they already
going down
are now.
that road is the path to a niche audience when you're on
Well,
national
dude,
television.
they don't. They only care about that anyway.
Which
They
is
don't
what
want
I'm
to
which is
grow.
what I'm saying. That's my
Yeah,
point.
exactly.
If they do, like, they shouldn't do this kind of stuff. Like, I thought, and CM Punk does too, him doing that at the press conference was a mistake. Because again, to his point, you're only appealing to a niche audience.
It was
You're
really funny though.
who was in that scrum, right? Like, people who write for Wrestling Press, insiders.
Yeah.
It's not for the masses.
Yeah.
No one
Yeah.
cares. Well, CM Punk's internal issues with AEW is not like it's not without any credibility, because Adam Page went into business for himself on television, right?
And he was rewarded for it. He was
Right.
rewarded for it.
100%.
Think about that.
100%. So, and Adam Page going on TV and doing that is like, first of all, I remember watching it live, but no one knew what was going on. Nobody knew what was happening. But I'm watching it. I was confused. Were you confused when you saw that for the first time live?
No, yeah, I was confused, but the thing is, Tony Schiavone's face said it all. Just like when they aired the Jack Perry footage.
Yeah.
Tony Schiavone's face was like, what the fuck am I doing? Well, okay, when dumbass Adam Page went into business for himself, Tony Schiavone's face was like, what the hell are you talking about? But when they aired the Jack Perry footage, Tony Schiavone's face was like, why am I working here? You saw his face, right? He looked so embarrassed.
I was embarrassed watching it.
And like I said, I'm embarrassed. Listen, like I said, I can accept that they're a joke, but I feel bad for you because I know you're way more optimistic about this company than I am.
Because guess what?
Tony Khan and the Elite, well, minus Kenny Omega, because Kenny Omega seems like the one sort of professional out of all of them. Like, Tony Khan and the Elite minus Kenny Omega have shown their true colors already, and they've shown how they're running this company already. So I've lost faith in them, but I can tell you haven't. So I felt more bad for you, if anything, to be honest.
2001, the spring of 2001 was a sad day for wrestling because now there's only one place in the United States at that time to watch wrestling on TV. That's bad. WCW's bad decisions is not something to celebrate. It was not something to celebrate because the more wrestling, the better, right? So when you look at AEW, right, compared to the other alternatives, MLW, TNA, they are way ahead of them on so many levels, right? AEW actually has a show that's like compelling to watch, right? For the most part. and it's another place for wrestlers to make money. So now when wrestlers are negotiating their deals, they have a lot of leverage because they went on this show, they drew this amount of money, they drew this amount of interest. They're on national television, so you have exposure. You go to WWE and boom, you're taking that audience with you and you're making new fans in the process, right? So having an AEW is perfect, right? Just like in sports, you have the NBA, you have the WNBA, right? You have many different places for people to go to make money, right? So the more of these things that you have, the better. So AEW doing stupid, dumbass insider bullshit that makes you no money, it's bad for the wrestling fan and it's bad for the wrestlers because now you're only going to have one place to make money. It doesn't mean AEW is going to go out of business with all this garbage. If they keep
No, no,
going
no,
down
no,
this
no. As
path,
long as Tony's dad keeps giving Tony money, they will never go out of business. They're just all they're in jeopardy of losing, or pretty much all they have lost, really, you know, is their credibility. Yes, you have all the funding in the world, but what you did the week after WrestleMania 40 weekend is what people know. Like, oh, it's always what they're gonna. It's always gonna be what they did. You know what I'm saying? Like people are gonna remember, oh, that's what they did a few days after one of the best WrestleManias in years.
you
That's
know what
what
made me
AEW.
forget about the stupid Revolution 2020 popcorn fart of a post-match show, right? Like watching Dynamite going forward, they were making a good, compelling product. There was actually stuff to watch on TV. Then CM Punk came, Bryan Danielson came, Adam Cole came, and then after when they were doing really good stuff for a little while, I forgot about that. I didn't forget, but it's like, okay, they made a mistake. Let's move forward. The Dark Order's initial presentation was horrible, was awful, but the rest of the show was compelling, right? Scorpio Sky wrestling Chris Jericho for the AEW title. That was crazy.
Oh, you remember Scorpio Sky? You remember him? You remember
Yes.
him? That guy who had a great promo, is really talented, and he just stopped showing on TV.
I think this can be hopefully a good learning experience for them to know that peeling back the curtain too much is a detriment to your promotion, right? Unless you want to be Game Changer Wrestling, because they do a lot of insider stuff, right? But again, it works for their audience because it's a very niche audience and they're not on national television. If they brought that shit to national TV, they would fail. They would fail.
No, but I feel like that's what AEW is appealing to. They're appealing to more of a GCW niche.
100%.
Yeah, like I don't know. Like, but by the way, am I clipping? I feel like I'm screaming.
No.
Okay, cool. It's just, yeah, like it feels like a lot of times I'm watching GCW with $1 million budget.
Yeah, it's a
That's
small
how
independent promotion with a big budget. That's what
that's
they're
how it
doing.
feels like I'm watching.
And it's bad. Anyway, let's move on. Will Ospreay, right?
Oh yeah,
So
great.
right after that segment aired where they showed the fight, Will Ospreay does an interview. Remember, he's wrestling Bryan Danielson on pay-per-view in a few weeks. He uses his television time. What does Jim Ross always say? Jim Ross always says to maximize your minutes to wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
The time you get, you make the most of it. So this guy, he decides to take shots at Triple H because Triple H did an interview WrestleMania weekend with Pat McAfee talking about people who want a lighter schedule or what have you. Will Ospreay thought that was about him because he was in talks with WWE. But also, I bet there's plenty of wrestlers that are in talks with WWE. Mercedes was in talks with WWE, right? Who knows who he was talking about? He didn't say Will Ospreay by name. You go on TV to say the lowest hanging fruit, the stuff that about Triple H has been said over and over again. You said nothing new. Oh, you slept with your boss's daughter and you got everything. It's like, bro, what are we doing here? What? And then he tied it up by talking about Bryan Danielson, saying, I can't be the best wrestler in the world until I beat you. But no one remembers that. That's not what people were talking about.
You got a lot of people throwing stones in glass houses here, don't you? Really? You
So
wanna?
did you see the segment?
Okay.
Did you see the segment?
No, I heard about it.
Okay.
I told you I didn't want to watch this fucking show after that. Like,
Okay. All right.
God.
So All right, what I just explained to you, right? I'm paraphrasing, right? But that's exactly what
I mean, you're
happened.
probably performing it better than he did.
Right. Does this make you want to see Bryan Danielson and Will Ospreay on pay-per-view on Dynasty on the
No,
21st? No?
no,
Me
no.
neither.
The thing is, because it's you have a match with one of the last real wrestlers on that fucking roster until they piss him off and drive him away. That is, but unless he's sipping the Kool-Aid, but I don't know. Anyway, you have a match with a guy who's amazing. The story could be, hey, you like to flip around the ring? I'm gonna break your legs so you can't do that. But no, the story is about, well, we don't like Triple H. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna beat up Bryan Danielson to prove that I don't like Triple H. Or maybe to prove that I don't need Triple H signing me, even though you being WWE, you'd be way better managed there than here. You're making me defend the company that came up with the Thunderdome. That's what they're fucking doing right now. We're defending the company that created the Thunderdome right now.
It's not
Because
about AEW versus WWE.
no, it's not.
It's
It
not.
shouldn't be. It's not. And I'm not saying it is. It's just like is no. But the point is that like the company that everybody was like, what the fuck at for years is now actually doing things that make sense. And the company that everyone had hoped for to be a good alternative is jacking off on television.
And it's really just about I don't want AEW to be like TNA
Me
because
neither.
TNA is amazing. Like their legacy, their influence is amazing. The six-sided ring stuff was amazing. This is the first time we saw on national television. They had Spike TV Thursday nights, 8 o'clock on cable. This is the first time I saw people like AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, and Christopher Daniels, Abyss, right? These were people that made their bones on like the independent circuit. They took the independent circuit and put it on national television, right? The problem is the people in charge were stupid. They were stupid. They decided to whatever made the promotion special, put that to the side and let's just recreate the past. What happened? The TV audience dwindled. They changed ownership so many different times. Now they're just another wrestling promotion on TV that has good matches every now and then.
I
That's
mean,
it.
in that regard, AW has already TNA'd themselves. You literally just described what they're doing right now. Like literally, and coincidentally, when Punk got fired, the television the quality immediately dipped. And I'm thinking, okay, they still got MJF. They still got MJF, right? And they fucked up MJF just to get over the devil and no one cared.
Yep.
So now MJF is gone and the quality dipped even deeper. People started drinking people's blood. Fucking, it's like nonsensical booking decision after another. They've already TNA'd themselves. Like,
They're not
like I
there
said, they're
yet,
not
though.
going out of business. They're not
No.
going out of business. They have money. It's just like they're telling us we're not serious people. That's what they're saying. They're a parody of a wrestling company. That's how they're presenting themselves.
To me, they still have a chance to turn things around if they just get their act together and just tell simple stories. Because again, you brought up, a possible story between Bryan Danielson and Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay did relay that. I'll give him credit for that. He was like, you're gonna try to ground me, right? But again, no one remembers that because you started talking about Triple H.
You're going to try to ground me, but I sell for no one, not even myself.
And then, I mean, this is another thing about Will Ospreay, and then we'll move on. Will Ospreay, he said this on national television. His response to the Triple H interview is that I have good matches every week.
Mm.
What the hell does that mean?
It
You
means
you
he has
have good match.
It means he has 7-star matches every week that he knows sells. So I don't have to look like a serious wrestler.
you have good matches. In storyline, it should just be I won or I gave my best effort. That's it. Or I lost and I want a rematch. That's it. In storyline. In real life, when fans talk about matches, oh, that was great. That was awesome. That was this. You can't be that much of a mark for yourself to say that. Your job
Well,
as a wrestler in storyline is to win.
I mean, he fits in perfectly here. A Mark wrestler defending a Mark promotion.
And look,
And here's
I
the
think
thing.
go ahead.
And it makes a look, promos like this were up and down the show for the past few weeks. Like Edge, like I love Edge. I love him. But his response to, and let's be honest, his promo was a response to that CM Punk Ariana Hawani interview. Say, everything's great here, guys. Nothing's wrong with AEW because Tony pays me a lot of money. How can you guys be mad at us? That's what it essentially was. And I love Edge. Edge is one of my favorite things about Edge is that his promo is so good. He reminds me of fucking Shane Douglas, but that shit wasn't it. Whoever told him to do that, or I don't know. I don't
Again,
know.
they're just appealing to the smallest possible audience, the lowest common denominator. Just move on. Full speed ahead. You got a pay-per-view in a couple weeks, right? Your promotion seems to be centered around your former centerpiece. It's
Because
embarrassing.
they can't get, look, it's just like when WWE dropped the ball on Punk over a decade ago. They spent years having guys cut 20-minute promos who couldn't hack it to prove that we don't need CM Punk. All the while, every week, everyone was chanting CM Punk, even though he's not there.
Yep.
But now the tables have turned. And you have AEW trying to prove to us. No, they're not even trying to prove that they don't need Punk. Because they actually think they don't need a guy like CM Punk. That's like, they actually think that. They're
They actually
trying to
don't need him. But go
yeah,
ahead.
sure, yes.
I'll explain, but go ahead. They actually don't need him, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, more specifically, they believe they don't need like someone to grow their company. They think they're at the mecca. They think they're at the top. That's what they think. Like, that's what I mean. But you can explain as well after. But I'm saying like they're trying to prove that this is a bad guy that we fired. This is a bad guy. We're good people.
Yes.
That's what they're trying to prove.
Yes, because of the collision right after they fired him, right? The night of payback on my birthday, see him, Tony Khan.
And Payback was a better show than that show.
Yes. Tony Khan was like, I feared for my life. I had to fire him. Now, generally speaking, when someone says that, I want to take it seriously, right? I'm like, okay, what did CM Punk? I'm not saying CM Punk was crazy. I want to listen to a guy who says something like that. But after seeing the footage, unless there's something else that we don't know about, how was your life in danger? A guy yelled at you saying, "You're a clown. I quit." Because he
was probably told to say that by whatever bozos. He was probably told to say that by the discipline committee. That was probably a pitch made by some asshole in the discipline committee. Hey, look, just tell everyone you were afraid for your life.
And again, the Tony Khan thing on Collision goes back to what we're talking about. Same thing with the Edge promo, with the FTR promo, with them airing the fight. They're appealing to the smallest possible audience, the lowest common denominator. Just move on. Don't peel back your damn curtain. It's up there for a reason. Okay? Move on. Tell great stories that people can buy into and sell tickets. The end.
Well, dude, they were peeling back their curtain even before Punk even got there, dude. Like,
not
they
like
were
this, though.
not like this, but dude, no, yeah, you're right, not like this, but dude, it always starts small. It started at first with them like openly saying babyface and heel on TV. It starts with little things like that. You see, listen, every time, and WWE does this too. Cody, God bless him. He cut a promo leading up to WrestleMania in which he said the fucking word promo and heel. I'm like, don't say that. Don't say that. Don't do that.
I
It always
agree.
starts small. It always
I
starts small.
I do agree with that. But I will say this, right? So when Jericho did that program with Eddie Kingston 2 years ago, which I thought was tremendous, by the way, but when Jericho cut that promo saying to Eddie Kingston, I thought you would be a great babyface, right? Okay, wait, right?
Yeah, I
That
remember what
was
Eddie
so
Kingston said.
stupid. It was stupid. Nobody knew what the hell you were like. What do you do? It's way too inside. Eddie Kingston had the greatest reaction. What's a babyface?
You see, that's no. You see, and that's it. Great reply. That was a great reply. Eddie Kingston was trying to salvage that moment, but at the same time, Jericho literally said babyface on TV. It starts small. It starts small, and then the mark shit just snowballs.
Yeah,
Okay, first we're saying babyface and heel on TV. Then we're saying, oh, babyfaces and heels don't matter. But then it snowballs into let's air backstage footage of a fight that didn't need to be shown. It snowballs. It always starts small, the stupid shit. Always.
exactly.
And when it's not corrected or dare I say, managed, it snowballs and it gets worse and worse. And that's exactly what's been happening with them.
So let me explain to what I mean when I said that AEW doesn't need CM Punk. Then we'll move on. Um, so look at ECW, right? ECW, they were nowhere near WCW and WWE in terms of audience and everything like that. They weren't, right? But that's not what the appeal of AEW was. ECW, why I meant ECW, not AEW, but ECW, they had an advantage, right? They were going to be this new breaking ground for talent, right? They were innovative. They were groundbreaking in the sense that we saw luchadors on American TV before WCW had their cruiserweight division. We saw Psychosis. We saw Rey Mysterio. We saw Eddie Guerrero. They were given a platform before anybody else would even care, right? We also saw the Japanese wrestlers. We saw Michinoku Pro guys way before WWF started bringing people in. Well, I'll give them credit. They brought in Bull Nakano. They brought in Aja Kong in the mid-90s. But at this point, they kind of trashed the women's division. But ECW was really focusing on people like that, focusing on the people that nobody else would pay attention to, right? So the thing about AEW, at least for me watching, is like I want to see the future, right? Having an anchor like a CM Punk can help that because CM Punk working with Darby Allin was perfect because you have the current star, then you have a superstar, then you have a star in the making, right? So that's great.
I literally know who Daniel Garcia was. The reason why I know who Daniel Garcia is because you texted me, hey, CM Punk had a match with this guy named Daniel Garcia from 2.0. He was in 2.0, right? Wasn't
Yeah.
he? Yeah, I'm like, oh, who's this guy? I'm like, oh my god! Not only is CM Punk still an amazing wrestler, but this Daniel Garcia guy is really good too. He was doing, contrary to popular belief, or not popular belief, contrary to Mark belief, he was getting a lot of young talent over. He tried that. The best Will Hobbs match that I've ever seen in AEW was the match that we saw live with Punk and Hobbs.
Yeah. And then
Shit
when
was
you look
amazing.
at Max, right? He worked with Punk, right? But here's the thing. I
The
think
best
Max
feud
was
they ever
on his
had.
right. I do agree with that. Max was he became a superstar when Punk was out of here, right? So yes, they don't really. It's good to have someone like him, but like you're not gonna go out of business without him, right? But anyway, they should. We're gonna move on from this, and AEW should definitely move on from this. But lastly, Kenny Omega, he went on his Twitch to discuss some of this stuff, right? And he never went this far in depth when talking about this. So he said, I'm going to quote him. Then I'll get your thoughts on this. He said, quote, I'm actually not a huge fan of pulling back the curtain on stuff that doesn't need to be out in public. That's why I'm saying, like, if for whatever reason guys were to fight or whatever, it's not for the public to know. That's just for them to air out their stuff and get it out of their system, right? And also, for context, right? See, Kenny Omega also said that he's done comedy in wrestling and all that stuff. He's done some wink wink stuff, like the thing they did on Dynamite with the Bucks. They kind of imitated the stuff that happened, right? Um, and he's acknowledged stuff like that. And Kenny Omega for a couple of years, he's been doing interviews saying, "My mentality is, let's appeal to the masses, let's build an audience. We
Yeah,
can't
like
just
let's appeal to the non-fan. That's what he emphasizes that.
Yes. So what do you think about Kenny Omega's comments here?
Well, it further just proves that Kenny Omega is one of the only fucking there's a reason why people take Kenny Omega more serious. He's the only person in the elite that people act outside of the AEW bubble that people take seriously. Like outside the AEW bubble, there are some people who know who Kenny Omega is because he wrestled like Okada. He was about to sign with WWE at one point. He was gonna, and I honestly Omega I can see in WWE,
Yeah.
like
Me too.
especially in a WWE without Vince. My God, Omega guys like him and Max would flourish in a major wrestling company. Omega is he tries to carry himself like a professional. He
Yeah.
tries, but it's just the people. It just confirms that it's not he's not the problem. It's the people he's surrounded by.
Yeah. He even said that, him and Punk have like a mutual respect for each other. Right.
That match would have
So
been so good.
I think, yeah, I would love to see CM Punk versus Kenny Omega. Maybe it'll happen. But
If he goes to WWE,
yeah, I just think that Kenny Omega even said, like, listen, just because I work for the promotion doesn't mean I agree with everything they do. And he has a great mentality. Like, let's not fully pull back the curtain. When you get to insider, you're losing people. Imagine showing someone who never watched wrestling that stuff. They're like, what is that? Like, they're just gonna get confused, right?
yeah,
So
and coincidentally, and of course, lo and behold, Omega's not there, and look what happened.
yeah. So when we did this show for WWE a couple of years ago, right? We said then I wrote in the episode description that unless they have a Dwayne Johnson style of program, like, and they were relying on dolls and zombies,
Ugh.
but luckily AEW doesn't really do none of that stuff. But their problem is, again, yes, AEW has a more insider niche audience than WWE, but that doesn't mean you need to like hyper focus on targeting these people. You need to reach the masses. Simple stories with compelling personalities. That's it. That's what you
Well,
need.
dude, they're flailing. They're clearly flailing. Like
Yeah.
they're like they're drowning in the ocean without a floaty. Like they're desperate, like for anything. Like
When
think like
yeah.
they don't believe in their world champion. They don't believe in like their new signees enough to focus on them.
Or to
Like here's the
focus
thing,
on
yes.
people. Or to focus on anything.
Yeah, like Mercedes, okay, Mercedes Monet, her promos, they're not good. But Britt Baker, when she started out, her promos were awful. And then she kept doing them. Eventually she got better. But here's the thing. That was around the time where they actually tried to be an alternative major wrestling company. Now they have their fans that will defend anything they do. They don't need to grow. They're good. They think they got it. That's the thing. They think they got it. Like, and they think they can get away with anything and people will still watch. For
They need to
and sadly
just
enough, for the most part, they're kind of right.
they need to focus on growing their audience. When you start something, finish it. Don't make people disappear for a while. Don't just book a match on TV and then you don't follow anything up at all. You don't follow it up. There's no momentum. So you think, yeah, people are the idea is to get people talking, right? The Young Bucks wrote that in their book. Oh, people are talking, but like they are talking about the person that's not really involved with you anymore. They're talking about the other person. They're talking about the other promotion. When Eric Bischoff did the stupid whatchamacallit, he challenged Vince to a fight. Now you put WWF in your fans' mind, right? They're gonna turn to WWF to see what they're saying. Then it's just like, you're getting people to change the channel.
And plus,
It's
dude,
stupid.
you brought up Jim Ross, right? You
Yeah.
brought up Jim Ross. Jim Ross is a guy that they don't fucking listen to. Jim Ross years ago said, "Hey guys, maybe don't bunch up like a bunch of morons." Like, I'm paraphrasing. Don't bunch up like a bunch of morons when someone does a dive. And
To me,
there are
that
people
stuff
on
is
the no, but like, dude, like they don't take advice over there. Literally, the former world champion, like Mr. Innocent Adam Page, openly said, "I don't take advice." They don't. You can bring up the best advice ever. They won't listen to it there. They think they got it.
I just think that I'm not really concerned with how they shoot certain moves or what have you. You know, that's a small thing. But like if something happens backstage, making it into a storyline does not work a lot of the time. When Matt Hardy and Edge had their real life issues, they turned it into a storyline. Honestly, to this day, it makes me uncomfortable. It was too personal. It was too real.
And dude, like with under Vince during the Thunderdome era, they fucking staged a DUI for Jeff Hardy, and I
Yep.
didn't watch SmackDown for months. No, you're right. This isn't about AEW and WWE. It's about the difference between being a magician and being a clown.
Yep.
Magicians always know a good magician never shows their full hand. A clown is just meant to go like, honk honk, aren't I funny?
Yeah.
They made themselves look like fucking clowns when you're supposed to be a magician, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they embarrass themselves. They embarrass people watching it at home. Made me feel stupid watching it. Kind of feel stupid talking about it. But I think that if they don't cut this stuff out, they're just going to be another wrestling promotion. That's not WWE. That's it.
Yeah.
They're going to be completely irrelevant, and they'll only have themselves to blame. And lastly, what I don't understand is that Tony Khan, every other person who's done interviews that join AEW and they meet Tony Khan, they're like, this guy's like a wrestling historian. He'll tell you everything that happened, this, that, and the third. I think Tony Khan should start studying the past a little bit deeper and learn from the mistakes of the past, not just the great matches of the past, but the mistakes certain promoters have made. And because you're making the same mistakes, you have to learn from the past in order to, move on in the right direction for your future of your promotion. That's it. Anything else
Yeah,
to
no,
add?
yeah. Well, uh you either learn from history or you become it.
Yep. And that's it. This is the Wrestling Caucus. I'm Peter A.
I'm Smiley Ariaga.
And I hope AEW learns from this. All right. Later days.